So we still have to hear the defense's closing statement. We have had late evidence presented by both sides, both prosecution and defense, making it fair and even. Either side wanting to file a mistrial could submit it to the judicial board. They'll make the decision, and if it's decided that it was a mistrial, they'll retry the trial at a later date. The recording was stated and not shared, hence we don't need any permission from the defense's side to play it. What you brought forward to me meant that if he were to have played it, he would need to consult you. You just stated that he had it, meaning there would need to be no consulting. So we'll go ahead, we'll proceed with the defense's closing statement. Yes.
I like that chair. Innocence, love, and care are what Dolly and Tracy had for Mildred. The first and second will and its contents were to no knowledge of my clients. The oil reserve and a mismanaged of money were dealt through Leslie, not Tracy nor Dolly. If Mildred changed the will and was incorrect, that was on Mildred's new lawyer, not Tracy nor Dolly, which they both stated they had no clue about. Both clients thought Mildred's meeting was a grocery settlement and not a will change. Mildred could have easily wanted a new will, not knowing John's whereabouts, and didn't want to make it personal with Leslie. Mildred could have wanted the two most consistent people in her life to inherit her belongings. John only left with $100, could have been offended and wanted revenge on two people who basically took his place. A cocaine addiction also could have provoked an imbalanced emotion, which pumped his thirst for revenge. This could also push Leslie and John to team up. Think about it. If John received $1 billion farm and shared the money and more with Mildred, they would have been far better off than Tracy and Dolly would have ever been. Also, false accusations of the farmer toward Tracy being on the porch all day, but when asked if he was working diligently for 10 minutes in the back, he wouldn't be able to pay attention to what was going on in the house. That leaves a 40-minute total of unaccounted attention to Tracy checking on Mildred since he circled the farm 4 times. Also, accusations that Mildred's money was misused by my clients. Why when they had their own income of money with a disability check and unemployment? This would have paid for their extracurricular activities. As we established, the car was nice and had benefits to Mildred also. Tracy and Dolly also made it clear that May 1st, when Leslie Rayburn called and yelled in the house and entered, Dolly was sleeping and Tracy was listening to a 2-piece headset. Therefore, shadows couldn't have appeared. The night before Mildred's death, the insulin was out in the trash with the disposable box of hypodermal needles was thrown out. Dolly had an emergency and clean needle kept in a container in her bag. That was used the morning of May 15th with a longer lasting insulin, which could have helped Mildred. The prescription was due that day, and Dolly had errands and things to catch up with in town while also picking up the prescription. Tracy, at home to keep an eye on Mildred, was at home doing so. Tracy fed Mildred shepherd's pie, which is sugar-free if you didn't know, and gave Mildred 1 piece of candy as a precaution due to the lack of insulin, which the physician clearly stated was okay. The abundance of wrappers could have been plotted by Leslie since she was nowhere to be found May 15th. Tracy stated she knew something wasn't right and walked to Post Road to call her mom to let her know to hurry home. Service was better and she could have easily seen who was coming down the road. This leaves us with John, who had greed and revenge written all over him. Leslie despited Tracy and Dolly and had more of a motive if no one else. And the gardener was a contradiction. Would this be the cause of one of their attorneys to trick a client of mine into saying what they wanted? Now, without the defense attorney's knowledge or consent, my client not read her rights, her no knowledge of being recorded, and the lawyer not identifying himself as a lawyer is against the code of ethics and is technically illegal. This closing statement proves reasonable doubt and my clients are in fact innocent. Prosecution used only coincidental evidence, therefore proving John and Leslie have no ground. Thank you.
Approach the jury.
Yes.
Alright, so just to reiterate to you, the jury, my clients, Dolly and Tracy, are completely innocent. They left their jobs and did everything they could to take care of Mildred. The prosecution simply has no motive. We know that Dolly and Tracy had no knowledge of this will, therefore they have no motive to cause anything but love for their grandma. We know from the doctor's testimony, Mildred died of a lack of insulin, but it was also the 7-year mark for her Alzheimer's, which is the normal time that someone dies from Alzheimer's. John Rogers, who recently got out of jail for cocaine, was infuriated when he found out that Mildred, who believed John neglected her, only gave her $100. So he was pissed and decided that's what he was going to do. He decided to sue my clients, get more money, which pretty much caused this trial. We have shown with the burden of proof that Dolly and Tracy are innocent. We have caused reasonable doubt. I give my condolences to Mildred's family. This was a sad death, but Mildred is in a better place. My clients might not have made it on time, but that is not a crime. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant in the case is charged with a criminal offense. Under our legal system, the defendant is presumed to be innocent until his guilt is established by legal evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. This means that the burden of proof is on the state, and it must be placed before you enough evidence to convince you, to the satisfaction of your good sense, that such a crime was committed by the person on trial. In case you have reasonable doubt of the defendant's guilt, you will acquit him and say by your verdict, not guilty. When making your decision, you should look carefully at what each witness has said. Where witnesses disagree, you must decide which witness is reliable. Now retire and choose a foreman for your panel. When you have finished deliberating and reach the verdict, notify the clerk. Jury outside.
Bring your notes if you need them.
We have a record on that.
Yeah, but